Regret is a heavy word. It sits like a weight on your chest, pulling you into the past, into decisions you wish you could undo. Every mistake feels like an echo, reverberating through the corridors of time, demanding answers that were never meant to be found. But what if, in reality, regret is not a truth at all? What if regret is nothing but a lie, a constructed illusion, a mental trap designed to bind you to a past that no longer exists? I invite you to join me in peeling back the layers of this pervasive emotion, to question its existence, and to examine the very core of why we carry it. Regret, it seems, is something we tell ourselves, a story we craft to explain our choices, our failures, our inaction. But is it true? Or are we simply deluding ourselves into believing that we could have done better, when in reality, we did exactly as we were supposed to? In the next few moments, we'll delve into this illusion, uncover its mechanisms, and free ourselves from the lie that keeps us chained to what we cannot change. Regret, as we commonly experience it, exists within the realm of what could have been. It's a reflection on a past decision, a moment in time that we now look at through the lens of if only. But that's where the lie begins. The moment you tell yourself, I should have done differently, you are rewriting history, distorting the facts of what you could have known at the time. Imagine this for a moment. You're at a crossroads, faced with two distinct paths. You make a choice, and life moves on. But now, years later, you look back, and you ask yourself, what if I'd chosen the other path? The problem lies not in the choice you made, but in the assumption that you could have known better. The person you are today is shaped by a wealth of experiences, insights, and knowledge that you did not have in the past. Regret, in essence, is a misjudgment of your past self. You are judging the person you were based on the knowledge, wisdom, and perspective of the person you have become. But here's the truth. You could not have chosen differently at that time. The you of today is not the you of yesterday. You are, at this moment, not the person who made those choices. The past is not a thing to regret, but a thing to accept, as it was a necessary part of your journey. Regret, however, is not just an emotional experience. It is deeply rooted in the psychological architecture of the human mind. The reason we feel it, why it grips us so fiercely, is because of the way our brains are wired. Our minds are constantly seeking patterns, looking for meaning, connecting dots, and assigning blame. When something goes wrong, our minds tell us a story that often begins with the simple question, why? The book, The Power of Regret, by Daniel Pink, dives into this exact idea. Pink argues that regret is not simply about the decisions we made. It's about the lessons we think we learned from them. Our brains are designed to seek closure, to find meaning in every choice. When we cannot find that closure, we hold on to the what-ifs, dwelling on the decision that could have been better. In truth, this is a mental construct. Regret exists as a way for us to cope with the discomfort of uncertainty. It's easier to believe that you could have known than to accept that you were acting in the best way possible with the information at hand. But this need to assign blame, to blame yourself or others, is part of the illusion of regret. We're trying to make sense of chaos. We crave control over our past actions, but we must accept that we can never have that control. Now let's address something even more insidious, the way regret manipulates your sense of self. In the throes of regret, you feel like a failure, like your past choices have defined you in a negative light. You begin to doubt yourself, to believe that you failed, that you've missed your chance. This is the crux of the lie. When you embrace regret, you give up your agency. You surrender your power to the belief that your past decisions have chained you. But the truth is, you are always in a state of self-creation. Your past does not determine your future. The only thing that defines you is your willingness to learn, to grow, and to move forward. What you see as a mistake or a poor decision is simply a lesson. It's an experience that has molded you, shaped you, and given you the very wisdom you hold today. If you free yourself from the chains of regret, you open yourself to the possibility of transformation. You realize that your past is not a prison, it is a stepping stone. This is the path to liberation, to accept that regret is a lie that keeps you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Let's venture into something deeper, something controversial. If regret is a lie we tell ourselves, does that mean we should feel no remorse, no recognition of wrongdoings? Can we completely erase regret from our lives and be free of its burden? Are we not morally bound to feel regret for our mistakes? Here we must confront the nature of ethics itself. In a purely moral sense, regret is often seen as necessary. It signifies our recognition of past harm, a kind of moral accountability. But the ethical dilemma arises when regret goes beyond this recognition and turns inward, feeding self-doubt, shame, and self-punishment. Consider the ethical dilemma of unethical approaches. If one were to cheat, deceive, or harm another, would regret not be a natural consequence of those actions? Of course. But this is where the unethical nature of regret becomes clear. The act of dwelling on regret, of being consumed by it, is not ethical. It is self-destructive. Regret for the sake of growth, learning, and moving forward is fine. But endless regret, where the self is torn apart, serves no purpose other than to imprison you. So how do we transcend this lie of regret? How do we release ourselves from the past and step into the fullness of the present? It begins with acceptance. Accept that the past cannot be changed. Accept that you did the best you could with the knowledge and the person you were at that time. Let go of the need to assign blame. Let go of the need to rewrite history. This does not mean you condone mistakes, nor does it mean you forget them. What it means is this: you stop letting them define you. You stop letting them paralyze you. The key to freedom lies in shifting your focus away from what could have been and toward what can be. The only time you can control is now. You hold the power to shape your future by the actions you take today. So choose them wisely, but choose them without the burden of regret. In this moment, and in every moment moving forward, remember this: the past is a lesson, not a prison. It is not the sum of who you are. It is simply one chapter in a much larger story. The story you write from now on is entirely up to you. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, you'll love my previous one, where I break down the shocking truth about horniness in just 5 minutes. It's a must-watch if you're curious about how it impacts our psychology and decisions. Click here to check it out now.